This note with Abdul Malik Kubaku Jr. The organized labor has come out to declare the 24th of July, Thursday next week, as the day on which everybody, whether in the formal or informal sector, should not go to work, but rather converge at designated points in each of the regions where they would let government know that they are unhappy, there's rising cost of living, and they cannot continue to bear it. We've had the Federation of Labour come out to say this is populist and politically motivated. It is an irresponsible decision, and that people should not buy into it.
Well, I would not. I think I must choose my words carefully. But I do not want to comment on the Federation of Labour's reaction or input. I don't want to dignify or glorify it. I don't get it. If they are not part of it, fair deal. If they want to be part of it, why not? If they have problems with the technicalities, how it was organized, or what kind of meetings went on and how and things, that's no big deal. But really, let's focus on what organized labor, and that is more than the TUC. Is that all right?
Yes.
There are other groups.
All of them coming together.
Yes, that's a very big group out there. You cannot ignore. But I've just seen the statement. He said, and I'm quoting what it was attributed to the TUC boss. This is by Joy Online. He says, all workers, including those of you in the media, formal and informal, are to stay away from work and converge at designated locations in Accra and other regional capitals to demonstrate. First point, I'm sure we, the media, will be working because we have to cover the events. And when we are covering the events, we are working actually, we're on duty. So that's one. But two, I hope sincerely that they've gone through the motions in terms of the law, the legal regime, because demonstrate means that they are going out there to designated locations, so it's a public event, and so the Public Order Act comes in. So they maybe they were already planning and were in touch with the police. I have no such details, I can't tell, because I'm not sure it is an immediate reaction to the budget, the presentation of the media review thing. I'm not sure. I think they may have been doing some work already on the ground. So they may have covered their back relative to the law. I'm also not too sure about the strike when it comes to the Labor Act. I'm not sure. I have to confess that I haven't done any serious study there. But in principle, one-day manifestation by organized labor, I think is positive for our democracy. One-day manifestation looking for what? A wake-up call for those who are in charge, both in terms of the political governance and economic management. To do what? To increase their wage, is that not it? Not exactly. They've raised a lot of issues, I think, about the hardships, the depressive. I mean, these things are true. You know, sometimes I don't think people in government or the economy should unduly be worried about these things. It's a reflection of the hard, harsh times that you can get organized labor to say that, look, we're going, thank God it's one day. Thank God it's one day. So why worry? People shouldn't have sleepless nights over these things.
Who is having sleepless nights?
Oh. Because in other countries, such demonstrations and protests
has asked them.
Such demonstrations and protests have turned into something else. To have workers all over the country laying their tools down and hitting the streets.
Well, I'm sure the police, predictably, you may be telling the police to say they don't have personnel to police this thing. you may be hinting.
I'll be surprised if by Monday we are not told that they are heading to court to injunct it.
Yeah, but that would be wrong. That subculture should be cut out. You see, look, this is organized labor, very disciplined organization. All those involved are disciplined people. Some are professionals of high caliber, gentlemen and ladies of the land, who have something to say. One day, thank God it's one day. Let us all embrace it. Let nobody feel scared about anything at all. Let them come out and express their views. Look, it's a wake-up call. It will make people in charge, whether in the political governance or economic management setup. There are issues they are putting across. Those issues, we've interrogated some here. And we agree that times are rough. If you don't want me to say crisis, fair deal. A combination of challenges actually constitutes crisis.
Yes. I see.
Okay, so there's absolutely nothing wrong with what is going on.
Obi, the new minister for Works and Labour has come out to ask them. He's actually appealing to them. Yesterday in the evening, he made a passionate appeal. He said even if they wanted to meet him in the night, he was available. You could tell from his voice he was desperate to get to them to be able to avert what was coming. Shouldn't they rather take to that option?
Well, of course, the new minister will not want to be welcomed this way. But we should also appreciate the fact that the leaders are not acting alone. Obviously, they will be acting because those they lead are feeling the pinch. Those they lead are complaining. Look at the fuel hikes. I mean, people fighting in trotros all over the place, the major issue. And once you increase fuel by this magnitude, it affects everything. So the average person will be complaining. And they've been complaining for some time. If the leaders don't show that indeed they sympathize with them and that they should tell government to manage the system well, then the leaders themselves will be thrown out.
We are not in normal times, and the leaders know. Can they also make some sacrifices?
What makes it not normal times? Because the average person thinks that we gave the government to you to manage it. If you always come back to us with excuses and problems, then we have to let you know that we don't agree with what is going on. And one way of showing it is to say that for this particular day, we are dedicating the hours towards showing our lack of appreciation of what you are doing.
And
the fact that
can't we
are not doing well.
Can't we do beyond that? The president has announced earlier that we are making some sacrifices. He's going to demonstrate that, practically by ensuring that his ministers have cut have a salary cut,
yes,
and all of those monies are being pushed into building, yes, health posts.
Yes.
Can't all of us also take a part of it?
When you offer 10% COLA, and then you say that you would have to remove subsidies, so utilities will have to go up, fuel will have to go up, everything will have to go up, and you're still keeping his 10% COLA. It's not waiting for you and your assurances. Indeed, he has to show that he's not happy. Otherwise, then what else does he have to do? That he should keep quiet for you to think that everything is well. Next time you increase the fuel, you increase utilities, and then his COLA will still be where it is. Obviously, he has to show that he's not happy. And I think the one day is just too mild. I'm sure one day is just too mild. Because, yes, it's just too mild because if you look at the situation in every sector, I mean, the average person probably would even want to eat just once a day and then buy sachet water. Now, sachet water has gone up by how much? 20%. He needs to complain. And this is a democratic way of showing that he's not happy about the way the economy is being managed.
Dr. Manibuama, the CEO of the MPA, Moses Asaga, was on this show 2 weeks ago, and he was talking about having come to a point where subsidies have to be removed on fuel. Then he said that they were doing national consultations and that the very final lap of the consultation was to be with organized labor. After that, then it will be announced. Do you get the impression that they didn't factor in, they didn't agree that these, levies, subsidies should be taken away, and if they agreed that they should have some salary increases in the event?
Samson, this will be inviting me into the realm of guessing and offering my value judgment in terms of what has happened between the National Petroleum Authority and obviously independent per se body that works. But what I would say is, as a social democratic government, organized labor are our natural allies. And so if you've realized government's posturing towards demonstrations has never been that of antagonism, has never been that of beating people up and all that. That, not at all.
Did you use the word never?
That has not been our approach.
We are in a democracy. You cannot beat anybody up who is on a demonstration.
But why?
It's a lawful exercise.
We have been on demonstrations before. This Ethiopia Kofi Seydou said he was specifically looking for Kwesi Pratt and then Honorable John Mahama. You understand? We have been in this. So
in this country,
in democracy,
under your party.
Okay. Can I have my
I thought we won't go there.
My period. So what I'm saying is that labor, organized labor, they are natural allies of a social democratic government. We have never said that we have resolved all the challenges confronting Ghana as we speak now. It's work in progress. If you listen to the Honorable Minister for Employment and Labor Relations, he indicated that, look, he's ready and willing to engage them. I would encourage them that even if they will go ahead with their intended action on Thursday, they should still take the opportunity that has been offered by the new minister for that constructive engagement to take place. Because even beyond going out for a public manifestation, they will still come back and have dialogue with government. Can you please allow me to...
No, I'm only making the point that it's a fact that they've been engaging with government and employers all this time. It's a dialogue that is ongoing.
In fact, one of their leaders talk about a point of mistrust or lack of trust, confidence in the government to do anything further about their situation.
As to whether that represents the true situation on the ground, I cannot tell. But the fact of the matter is that we all heard the minister eloquently last night,
appealing and inviting them.
As he spoke. It's on my Joy Online, and everybody can bear ample testimony to this. They raise issues about water. I have said here that we are investing as much as $750 million in the water sector. Presently, as we speak now, in the Accra metropolitan area, we are only producing about 97 million gallons of potable drinking water. The consumption is up to about 150 million gallons. So, without this capital injection in the water sector, we are not going to be able to meet it. But with these injections, by the middle of 2016, we expect that the production would have gone up by up to 158.3 million gallons of water. It leaves room for about 8.3 million more. That obviously will bring some improvement. In terms of the energy...
Look at this from this way. Look at this from this way. Dr. Mani Boama is giving us the list of a lot of things that have been done practically. Last week on this show, we had the opportunity of having Felix Kwachio Fosu. He brought us the list of the things that have been done to seek to explain to people who are agitating and are being overly pessimistic about the situation that things were being done. Why do you think people don't seem to, some people or majority of Ghanaians, as it appears, don't seem to buy into all of that?
Thank you.
Some will take time to mature.
Let me explain that. In my own view, I think Labour should be supportive. Supportive in the sense that there is the need for us to ensure that we have a sound macroeconomic stability. Government has been very fair with Labour. In fact, from 2010 to 2012, we increased the base pay above the CPI, the inflation. And that is something that is very uncalled for. It's something that a lot of people have criticized it, that indeed, at the time we were implementing the single spine salary, we were at the same time awarding salaries increases of 10, 15% and 17 and 20% at the time. So government has been very fair. In spite of that, we've also ensured that there has been a major investment in areas of social protection, in areas of infrastructure development. I think that goes a long way to support Labour. But personally, again, I think subsidy in itself should be targeted. You cannot achieve a full benefit of subsidy if it's so blanket. If I have a way, I think it should be converted, the issue of subsidy should be converted, instead of ex ante, should be ex post. I think that is the only way you will be able to recoup the benefit of subsidy.
Obiama asked the question, what is your expectation or what is your plan? If you gave them an increase of 10%, is it?
Right.
Sometime that was earlier in the year.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
And now, after that increase you gave them, a lot of things have gone up.
But
so do you plan to give them something to cushion what has happened?
Something. If we use that indices as the baseline, we'll get it wrong. In the sense that in 2011, when we awarded salary at almost 20% base pay increase, inflation was single digit. We, at the time, subsidized fuel to the tune of almost $1 billion. So what is the difference? So what we are trying to say is not about Ethiopia, it's about the fact that we have to understand the reality. And the reality is that this trajectory cannot continue. If we continue like that, we will destroy the medium-term prospect of this country. There's the need for all of us as a country to understand that we need to come back to macroeconomic stability by implementing some of these measures. We've said that these measures that we're implementing are temporal. They are temporal. Some of them will have sunset clauses in them that it will terminate by itself by December this year. And then we hope to see that from 2015, things will get better. So I think Labour should rather be supportive of government at this stage.
As far as
so
the finance ministry is concerned,
the stability.
As far as the finance ministry is concerned, they should manage with what they have, even though it cannot meet their needs as they used to.
If it means eating once a day.
Yes, I think it's. I think it's when it comes to wage, and it has to do with. To me, what's so important is the ability to pay. If you cannot pay, that is another question. If you have a national budget, and then you use in excess of 60 million to pay for compensation, which is not only wages and salaries, but include social security and allowances, 60%, I think that is not acceptable.
Okay, thank you very much. And you're still here on Newsfile on Joy 99.7 FM on radio. In Kumasi, you are listening to us on Love 99.5 and over a dozen affiliate stations across the country. You're watching us here on your Joy News channel on Multi-TV. The show is subsequently available on ABN Television, on your Sky channel 260 in the UK and elsewhere in Europe. You're also watching us on Multi-TV World/streams or listening at myjoyonline.com. Kwesi Inweja says, please tell Kweku that when government wanted to introduce VAT, there was public outcry. When government wanted to introduce Get Fund, there was public outcry. As for the public, they will always cry when government wants to implement a policy. That's all you want to say. Thank you. Owusu Ambrose Derek in Asint Fosu, or Asint South, says, good morning. May God bless the leadership of the TUC for taking this bold decision, because the only way to put President Mohamed's Ethiopia government on its toes is to hit the streets. Akoto Razak in Tamale says, the mid-year budget review is the hope for this challenged economy. The opposition can do propaganda with it to please themselves. Pusu Amidu says, TUC's call is indeed a call in the right direction. Samson, a bag of cement is now 40 cedis in Wale Wale. Mahama has disappointed the youth in Ghana. Akwesi Obeng in Ejusu Besiase writes, those who are saying TUC's demo is politically motivated are insulting the intelligence of the TUC's leadership. Thank you for your messages. Keep them coming. 1422 is the text line. You can post them on our Facebook wall or send them directly to newsfile@myjoyonline.com, and I will share them with everybody else. Let me try and see if I can pick a few more of your messages. Joseph Apia Beidu says, was Omanibuama around when teachers were beaten by police because teachers, teachers have poor conditions of service. The propaganda won't work. Dokas Amankwetia, sending from Australia, says, I was curious to learn about our dear Honorable Deputy Minister of Finance finances educational background. So I Googled him up. He schooled at South Bank University, London. What chair school in London is that? Yeah, I rest my case about the crisis matter. And then Derek Pia says, something our president has to deal with the economy. Thank you very much. Let's hear some of the solutions that you would want to proffer. I think that would also be positive and helpful to the whole discussion. Thank you very much indeed for your messages. Now, let's go to Parliament briefly and let's see what Mahama Yaraga got himself into with the Speaker and other members of the House.
Say that if we look at the powers of this House in relation to establishing a body to inquire into matters of public importance, there is an express constitutional provision, and that express constitutional provision is the Article 278, which I referred you to. And that constitutional provision states what powers this House has in relation to the establishment of commissions of inquiry. And I'm saying that the appropriate motion would have been a motion to ask the President to set up a commission of inquiry into this matter of public importance. And I'm saying that given that the President has already set up that commission under a constitutional instrument, then it makes the movement of this motion mute. Mr. Speaker, after the Honorable Member for Boku Central and the Minister for Youth and Sports had come to this House to state, to bring to the House's attention that he had set up an administrative inquiry. Today, he comes here and draws our attention to the fact that on the 11th, which probably was a day after he made the statement, His Excellency the President, probably based on the advice of his minister, who came to this House to make a statement that he has set up an administrative inquiry in respect of the Black Stars participation, there's been a CR. Does it mean that the President is seeking to undermine the work of this House?
I'm indeed saddened that some people are not serious enough in this House that we should subordinate the power of Parliament to the Executive. How can we do that? Mr. Speaker, it is embarrassing to this House that some people do not even understand the difference between the Executive and the Legislature. What is the meaning of separation of powers? What they are inviting you to do, Mr. Speaker, that tear this Constitution into shreds, because it doesn't matter anymore. What is the dignity of this House?
Use the word bad faith. I use in relation to the objection taken by the Honorable Minister for Youth and Sports, because we were all in this House when he came to make a statement, and I made the statement that that does not prevent the motion being moved. So for me now to come back now to say that the motion cannot be moved will be in a bad faith. Honorable members, I will now put the question. As many as are in favor of the motion, say aye. Those against, say no. Honourable members, I want to use the discretion vested in me by Standing Order 1131 to call for a head count. The ayes, 76. The noes, 96.
Okay, we'll deal briefly with that matter, but let's go to the phone lines and speak to Edward Kariwe, who is the Secretary General, is it, of the General Agric Workers Union. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. Hello, Mr. Kariwe. Okay, is Mr. Edward Kariwe on the line?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, I think we've lost him. I think we lost him. We can proceed with our discussion whilst we try to get him back on the line. They are part of organized labor, and we have just a few questions for them for purposes of clarity on the manner in which they intend to proceed on the 24th of July. Now, I'm hoping we can deal with this briefly and move on to the presidential the reshuffle. Okay, I understand that Edward Kariwe is back on the line. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Right. Now, so all labor unions in this country, presumably with the exclusion of the Federation of Labor, are going to join this, your action on the 24th of July?
Yes, sir.
I see. And is it a strike or what?
It's a demonstration.
It's a demonstration.
Yes, please.
Okay. Someone wants to know if his employer or her employer does not allow him or her to be to be part of it on the day, what happens?
Well, once we normally have to communicate to employers to release their employees for such actions. The labor law also enjoins all employers to allow some amount of time for unionized workers to exercise union activities. And this is one of union activities, and all employers are enjoined under the law to permit workers to join the action. So if an employer declines or restrains any employee to do so, certainly that employer must be seen to be acting contrary to the labor law.
I see. You say this does not come under strike, and yet you are construing it under the labor law to be able to give people the opportunity to stay out of work when they are not on strike, is it?
Yes, it's not only on strike that the law permits people to stay off work, but the law also says that employers are enjoined to grant workers some amount of time, working time, to exercise union activities.
Okay. How did you come to this decision? Had you, try to get in touch with the ministry or government to seek to solve your problem before this?
Well, these problems have been there, and we have, using different medium and different fora, brought to the notice of government and employers, government in particular, about all these challenges. So they are not new. We have done that over and over through the tripartite, through negotiations, processes that we've had with government, and through communication to government about the state of the economy and what government should not do about certain policies and so on. So,
what specifically are you seeking to achieve? To dictate to government how it runs the economy?
Well, as members of the Ghanaian society and that the citizens of this country, we think that we have the right to express ourselves and also to seek to tell government that certain policies that have been implemented are not good. So we seek to influence those policies. Not necessarily a dictatorship, because I don't think that anybody is allowed to dictate to the other what should be done. More importantly, government.
Okay,
but
the major reason you raise is rising levels of conditions of living. So you are not asking for extra pay, correct?
Well, it will whatever government will do to mitigate the rising cost of living for us. One way is to raise wages, which will allow us to be able to deal with the rising cost, or reduce the rising cost itself, and yet maintaining wages at the level that we have now. Whichever way, it will mitigate the cost of living for us.
I see. What would you say to someone who says that you are not ready to sacrifice a bit for the country at a time like this? We are not in normal times.
Well, I think that unless the person does not have a good understanding of labor relations in this country and the role of labor in the development of this country, would say that way. Because one, we have, for this year, for instance, we have gone to government seeking to have a certain level of salary increase. We ended up having a COLA. A COLA has serious implications for workers' welfare and their pension and so on. That is a huge sacrifice. We are also aware that whilst prices of goods and services are going up, where we have control over, for instance, even the exchange rate, which is, we believe, is within the control of government to deal with, has a serious impact on our incomes, which are fixed and for the whole year. If someone sees all these things and thinks that it is not a sacrifice, I think that is not the case for us. So we have sacrificed our part and will continue to sacrifice, and we only want to ask government that, please, some of the policy.
Okay, my very final question to you would be what you say about the minister's invitation to you to have a meeting so that you can amicably resolve this matter. Okay, sorry, I think we have lost him, but I wanted to ask him how they are taking the minister's invitation, or they are simply going to ignore it and go ahead with their demonstration.
But Samson, let me urge them that even if they will go ahead with the demonstration, it is still worthwhile taking advantage of the
Okay, let him answer that question. Mr. Karawe, the minister has invited you, Haruna Idrisu has invited you to a meeting which should look forward to possibly resolving this matter. Are you amenable to that meeting?
Well, we are always ready to meet government to dialogue, and then we'll always contribute to whatever we can to make sure that government runs the economy.
The minister says he's ready for you any moment. Are you ready to meet him?
Yeah, we are ready to meet him.
Okay, so directly you have it, Haruna Idrisu, you have it. Maybe you should begin to call each other and see what you can do. But have you notified the police about your intended action? Because the Public Order Act Section 1 requires you to give a 5 days prior notice and the routes of places you want to march through.
Yeah, the police have been notified.
They have not given you any indication that they may want to go to court and stop you because their strength will not help?
Well, it is left to the police to do whatever. I think the order is that we have to notify them.
Right.
And if the police think that they have got some challenge and they want to go to court, that's left to the police, please.
Oh, they've always had challenges about providing security for small groups, and your group is so wide all over the country. You should anticipate it.
Yeah, but that attitude will not help the situation. Does it solve the problem? Does it address our concerns? If you restrain people from moving on the street using all sort of excuses, you are rather aggravating the situation. So I think that the police should be circumspect and then try to find a way of accommodating people when they want to go on the streets, particularly labor, which for a long time have not gone on the streets like this. But if they choose to say that they'll go to court and restrain it, and anything happens, certainly they too must have a blame.
Okay.
Must also be blamed for the degenerating situation in the country.
All right. Thank you very much, Edward Karawe.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much indeed. And Edward Karawe is with the General Agricultural Workers Union. They are a member of organized labor, so to speak. Now,